The Black Fat Femme Podcast is a production of iHeartRadio and Dr. John Paul, LLC. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Black Fat Femme Podcast, where all the intersections of identity are celebrated. I'm one of your hosts, John, also known as Dr. John Paul. And while you were trying to figure out if Annabelle, yes, that the scary doll, the dolly,
Raggedy Ann doll, Raggedy Ann doll, girl.
Yeah, the Raggedy Ann doll. If she was really the reason behind that plantation burning down. And also people are saying that she is the reason that those 11 men escaped that prison. Was it 12? 11 or 12.
11.
It was 11 men who escaped that prison. I'm just happy that they free, and I'm happy that that plantation is gone. Can I get amen? Well, actually, I think so. Let's talk about it. By the time y'all hear this, I think only 3 of them are free. The other what 9 got caught.
So as of today, 7 have been. So I should say 6 have been caught. 5 are still out there. 1 was on a murder charge. So I may not say for that person that, but the rest of them were on petty theft. And I too am like, listen.
So we got 10 on petty theft and 1 for murder.
Yes. From what I heard. So let me So y'all fam, it's Sharon, aka Joe, we're here at Spooky Queens. And I gotta tell you, being in New Orleans as Annabelle was a trip, okay?
Yeah,
with the 11 inmates that were there. Now my Lyft driver, I'm gonna call her Mimi. My Lyft driver, she knew way too much. She was like, as soon as I got in that Lyft, she was like, it was my first like hour there. She was like, oh my God. She's like, are you visiting? I say, I'm visiting. So I don't know if you know, but be careful in these streets because there are some folks who escaped from prison, who escaped from jail. She knew everyone's charge. She knew how long they were there for, how much more time they'll get if they get caught, where they'll be shipped off to. She knew where each one was found. She was out here being my little true crime queen. She was like, so one dude, he was what was he do? He was like he got caught at the strip club. He was the strip club after he got out, which I mean,
I can't fault
relatable. Like I can't. I too. Right. Let me go to the strip club.
That's like me being in jail. The first place I'm going is a Krispy Kreme.
I'm telling you, let me go somewhere where I can find my comfort. Right. So I get that.
Hello.
The one dude went to see his homie, and his homie started posting him and was like, "Oh my God, like my dude's out. Come see him."
Right?
And yes, and she was like,
got caught on Instagram.
And he was so dumb to trust that homie. That's not a homie. That's an op. Why? What? Because why would your friend, if your friend knows you escaped, why would he film you? And I was like, girl, that's the right question, sis. Mimi asked the right questions. And the next person was someone who was like just doing a stroll through the French Quarter. And she told me that apparently the French Quarter has some of the best facial recognition cameras in the country. And so they recognized this dude off a tattoo on his arm, not from his face, a tattoo off his arm. I said, she knew everything. And then she was like, honestly, I think it was an inside job. Because how did they?
Yeah, that's what. So, and I don't know if you saw.
What?
If you saw Dominique's. So, shout out to Dominique Morgan, friend to the show. She did a full breakdown of why she believes that what happened there was like more of a. Because she was explaining, like, basically, she was saying as a person who has escaped from jail, because she said during her time, I don't know, she's been very public about being incarcerated. So I want to make sure that I'm being very upfront about that if you have not listened to Dominique's episode, or if you have not followed Dominique, all of her critiques about the incarceration system are just in general, just fantastic. So just in general from that. But as somebody, she was explaining in her video that as somebody who was incarcerated, there were all of these factors of why there's no way they could have escaped that venue.
Yeah.
And how it had to have been like somebody from the kitchen left the back door open for all of those people to get away. Or it was they were moving. So, you know how they move inmates, or they travel with them in some capacity.
Yes, man.
And someone lost control and they got away from that. Like she was saying, there's no specific way that the way that it was framed on television could be possibly real. Literally, like I think I'm with you. I'm with you when you're right.
No, I was like, listen, and Mimi and the whole thing, and part of me was like, Mimi, did you help them, girl? Like she knew a bit too much.
Yes.
Where I was like, I was like, "She knows
Mama, you
a little bit that she lets on." So I was kinda like, "Mm." And then
a little too
also and
close
this
to
also wild,
home.
I was also I was at this little, corner store, and this dude was telling the group about it, and then he was like, "Because they're giving 10K a 10K reward if you find them," right? And he was like,
For all of them or per
I
inmate?
I think it's per inmate, maybe all of them, I'm also not sure.
Huh,
But I was like but he was like, "If you report them, like, if you report them, use my name because if you report them and they know it's you, like, they'll come find you and kill you." And part of me was
that
like,
part.
"Okay, but you live here, so they will kill you. In fact, I'll be okay because I get to fly out here. They ain't gonna find me." But
Right.
so I also was like, it sounds like you may be in on it too, but it sounds like you maybe want to cut of the deal. So
Yeah,
I'm like, you won't get got for some reason, even though you live here. Also, 10K is not that much. Lovingly,
that's nothing. By the
if I'm putting a dude on a murder charge, I need money for protection. I need bodyguards. Okay,
1.5 mil,
million.
please.
Thank you. Like
Million, because I need to be able to get up out this country and start my
and
life
flee for
somewhere
safety.
else.
I'm saying,
Right.
like,
I'm
you
going to
can't have me out here
Bali.
like that.
Yeah, I'm going to live in somebody's tree in
I'm
Bali.
screaming. Exactly that
Yes, because
girl.
I know that money will last me there. But no,
Okay.
I like I said, I'm with you when you're right.
Thank
I'm
you.
with you
Thank
when
you.
you're
You rock
right.
with me, girl. Okay. Anyways, y'all. So
Mhm.
we gotta keep it pushing. We gotta kick our show like we typically do. We gonna honor our favorite girl, Miss Tisha Campbell, on our Steel Hair segment. And this week, I want to kick off the show by talking about a TikTok I saw where a young woman was eating lunch in her kitchen and she started crying because she noted that she was not only safe but a moment that she had always prayed for. And that got me thinking, like, as you look around to the world on fire, girl, because
Ooh,
it's on fire, girl, what has been your answered
literally.
prayer? What's the thing you look
Mhm.
around and go, damn, I really did that? For me, I can't have that as I pulled into New York. For folks who don't know, I am in New York right now.
Mhm.
I am here for next week, which I'm excited for. So I think you might get two episodes out of me while I'm here in NYC, and and that's more where I was like, I wouldn't say I felt safe because Loki girl, we almost broke a tire on that landing. That shit cracked. We hit the ground. We said boom, girl. I said, what the fuck? The fuck?
Goddamn, yeah,
I
yeah,
finally
yeah,
said,
yeah.
God damn. The girl next to me said, oh my God. Bro, my husband was like, oh
You be
hell
looking
no.
around like, do
We
y'all feel that?
yeah,
Was that just
we
me?
literally hit the ground. I said, "Girl,"
Yeah.
for a moment, I legit lifted off my seat. For a moment, I was like, "Damn!" Like I'm really going to die on the landing. We flew safely. I got the landing, but I got here safely. But it's a moment where I
Uh-huh.
was like, "Wow." I'm able to travel sometimes just on like a little whim, right? And like
Mhm, mhm.
my question is not what can I afford to do? It's just
Right.
like, like what will I do while I'm here? Like so as I landed, I really gave gratitude for the ability to travel and just know that I'm able to do mostly, mostly whatever I want, right? Like if I don't
Mhm.
love where I'm staying, I can find another place and pay for it. I may not like having
Real,
to pay for it
real,
because debt,
real.
but I can. And that to me is like, I really did that. Like I really have worked hard to a place where I can afford to do the things that I like need and want, right? Like I was telling someone the other day,
Mhm.
I feel secure in so many things because I know I can do it. And like they ask a question like do I know how to ask for help? I'm like yes and no. Like I don't always ask for help because when I don't know if I can trust anyone can help me, but
Real.
I also know that like I can do it myself. Like I
Mhm.
don't need a lot of things, so I know I can do it for myself. And also like yes, ask for help, blah blah blah. And I'm working on that. But it's to get to know that like the things that I want and need, I can give to me.
Yeah, you're taken care of.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was, so I too have seen that TikTok and, I wish I knew the creator's name so we could shout her out. I'll do some digging and I'll put it in the show notes just for folks who may wanna see it. But, I think about that's literally what I feel or what I got from that video of like, I have what I need and I think sometimes we get so caught up I think in life and that's kind of what I'm having to like check myself on a lot. There's so much more out of my career I want, there's so much more out of my life that I want, there's all of these things that
Mhm.
I want, but sometimes I don't think we stop to really just kind of look around and be like, damn, I really have everything that I need right now. And
Mm.
I've worked up to this point and it feels good. And I think that's where this question came from, right? Like, I really did that. I really created or I
Okay.
fostered a life that I have everything that I need. And I
Okay.
feel the same way. I know that this kind of is semi superficial, right? But I've talked about it in so many um different ways, and I've never like head on talked about being houseless. And I think folks know part of my story. I talk about it, like I said, in my book. I've talked about it around me, and that for me is when I saw that TikTok, I immediately, like, I was sitting in my living room, and the thought for me, like, looking around and being like, damn, like, I have an office, like, I
Yeah.
have a home, like, I have a garage, like, I drive a nice car into that garage every single day, a nice car
Mhm.
that I can afford. It's not like I'm living beyond my means. Like, I literally can afford everything that I have in my life right now.
Yep.
And at one point in my life, I didn't think that that was ever possible. And so, like,
Yeah.
while we've also talked very much about the astronomical pricing of living in California in general,
Girl.
I think even for me, right, I sometimes will leave and I hear people talking about their life in California, and I'm like, I that's not my life. And it's not to shit on those people who have struggles, because I want to make it very clear that it ain't all roses over here either, right? Like, I think me and Joho, we text and we talk almost daily at this point about just what our life is, what we're dealing with. But I think for me, it's really sometimes just sitting in gratitude and being like, damn, like, I'm not living out of my car anymore.
Yeah.
Damn, you know, I'm not robbing Peter to pay Paul to pay that bill. Like, I just this week was able to pay off a credit card that I genuinely in my life would have been really stressed out about because of the balance, right? Like, those are all things that I think that I know I've worked for, but at the same time are things that I've prayed for. And sometimes I just sit back and I look at that and I just go, damn, like, I really did that.
You know,
I really did.
yeah, I think like you and I are financially independent, like not just in the sense of being like able to afford what like we want to afford in most cases, but also
Mhm.
like independent in the sense of like we know that likely like if something happens to like our parent, right, we're not getting anything from
Yeah.
them. Right,
Right. Right.
we know there is no inheritance or anything for us. Like we
Nope.
like
Nope.
and sometimes we're even helping financially those people, like people around us too. And like that
Yeah.
is a huge gift and privilege to be able to do that. Like there are times where I'm
Yeah.
like I know most likely like when my mom passes, there will not be much, if anything at all, to to leave me. Like I
Right.
so it's like my independence is not just so I'm independent; it's so like I'm set up for my future, and I know for you
That
the
part.
same.
Oh,
You are setting yourself up for your future, and whatever comes after you
same here.
too. Like, and that is not
Mhm.
fucking easy. That is
Ah,
work. Like I was having a conversation
mhm.
about salaries with some friends of the day, and their salaries like is much higher than mine, and they're like okay, Jeremy, but your salary at your age is really good. I'm like, yeah, it is really good for sure, but you all like you have something.
You
If
have
something happened,
help.
like you have help, you have two income households, like you have a
Mhm.
partner, you have two parents, right? Like you
Yeah.
have things that when if that like you have support if something happens. I don't.
Right.
If shit
Right.
goes down
Right.
for me, like maybe if I should go down for me, but my mom's still here, I can live in her house, sure. Like
Mhm.
I can live in her
Mhm.
house, sure. But she can't financially support me. Like
Right.
that is just rough. So I just I'm grateful that we are able to do what we do, and we work hard as fuck for it, because it is
Yeah.
not easy for people.
It is not, and there's a part of me that's looking at our looking at the show flow today, and I'm like, this should have been a whole segment. But I was gonna say, like, I mean, we've
Mhm.
talked about it in so many different ways. And if I mean, you piece them together. We've talked about finances, we've talked about life. But I will say this, I like, to your point, I also think, like, there was a moment a couple of months ago where I was really, really, like, really doting on myself about not being able to afford a home. And the process of, for many of you who listen to some of our older episodes, I went through the process last year of trying to buy a home. And it wasn't that it didn't work out. I genuinely was in a place where I was like, I don't want to be house poor. And we talked about that in that moment. And I will say, it kind of like, looking back on that, to your point of what you just shared, it even just in my mind, I'm going, the fact that I have worked to a place where I can even entertain the thought of buying a home,
Yeah.
like, even though it didn't work out, because the universe was like, not right now, there's still a part of me in my life that's like, damn, I did that.
You
You
did.
know what I mean? Like,
And girl, context matters. It didn't work out in
yeah,
California. You
right,
could get
right.
a home. You can get a big ass home in
Anywhere else, right?
many other states. Okay, like
California, I couldn't get a home
California,
in.
and
Yeah,
like not
point
a lot of people can. Girl, it is
points were
crazy
made.
as
Yeah,
hell. Like it's
it is.
crazy as hell.
It right, and I tell people I stay in California specifically now, the next 4 years I'm
Yeah.
planning to be here, and I'm
Mm,
okay with renting here for the next 4 years, because everywhere else is a true shit show, and it's not to say California is not a shit show either, and we talked about that in other episodes, right? It's not to say California is not, but I think, financially, and I think about just kind of the safeties that I have and just kind of knowing where I live, I kinda wanna stay here, but I say to your point, like, that is a real that's something I didn't even think about. Like, girl, you do know you can buy a home somewhere else, and just even be in that point, right? To even be at a
mhm,
place where I know at any given time if I really like my credit is good, I have enough money in the bank to start the process to buy something if I really need to, or even if
mhm,
things were to change in my life and I needed to up and just go. That's the other thing I think a lot about too. Like, I have the means to just be like, oh, it's time for me to go. Let's book these tickets and get up out of here.
mhm,
I know a lot of people can't do that. And so I'm really sitting, as much as there are a lot of things I could sit here and complain about, and a lot of things that I know rightfully I could be upset about and pissed off. I think pissed off is the right word.
mhm,
Um, I also sit in this notion of like, yo, we definitely did what needed to be done, and I'm really really happy about that. So
mm, we did. Okay, fam. Well, we have to take a big moment to send some gratitude. We also recognize in order to keep the shit we have, we gotta pay some bills as well
see,
too. We're gonna take a
see.
quick break. When we get back, we'll jump to this week's category is more in a sec.
All right, y'all. So as I said in the last segment, I do wish that we could have really expounded on that convo, and I think one day down the line we
We
will.
will.
But
It's our show.
for
We will.
it's our show. We'll come back to it. We're gonna come back to I think what we were kind of touching on in the last segment was, I think, this generational, the need for us to kind of, you talk about what do they talk about? What are the girls, the dollies talking about? Generational trauma and how folks are ending it. And so we'll
Mhm.
put a pin in it. And we want listeners, please hold us accountable to that, because we'll mention stuff on the show and then we totally forget.
Okay.
So any of you want to hear more about that, please make sure that you tap us and say, "Hey, John, don't forget about that conversation." And I know one of our listeners probably will, but I just wanted to make sure that. But anyway, all that to be said, I have been sitting with this conversation for a couple of months. So as you all know, by the time you hear this, it will be in a couple days. It'll be time for Pride, and everyone will be pulling out their rainbow flags. Some of us already have. Long Beach Pride already happened. I know a couple of other cities and states that are local to us. I think like Nevada and a few other ones, they're getting ready to gear up for Pride. And one of the things that I had been sitting with was, we had a conversation. I don't even remember the context of the conversation, but we started talking about identity. And one
Mm,
of the things that had come up for me in that conversation was, um, I got tripped up on what the conversation specifically, because we were talking about femme, non-binary, gender expansive, and gender fluid, and gender nonconforming. And I think the bigger question that I left with in that conversation was, what is the difference between all of those things? And I know, if me, as someone who's like doing the work, is a little bit like, what the fuck does this mean?
mm,
I can only imagine what a listener who's like kind of fresh into this is dealing
mm,
with, is thinking about the identities. And so, kind of to celebrate Pride and to celebrate this idea of us needing to all kind of educate ourselves and constantly be learning, right? I thought we would just generally jump into a conversation about it and really just kind of like talk about, I not even just the definitions of these things, but I think this idea of kind of getting to that intersectional part, right? Like, how does our intersections kind of nudge and define each of the ways that we show up in
yeah.
different things? And so, yeah, I kind of wanted to just start with that and really just kind of lead a conversation around this idea of like why each of these identities are so important to people and how we can honor them, especially those who are dancing at the intersections of many.
Mm. I really like this because I think it's not only important but timely, considering all
Yeah,
the ways media is getting is trying to get them wrong or conflate the idea that folks don't know themselves or are confused about the gender
T,
identity, right? Or they're
T.
confused about who we are
Mhm.
as people. I mean, obviously, listeners, we want to make it clear that this is just our take on it. And if listeners want to correct us, or even challenge us, that's great. Like like please keep us to task, y'all. I think the thing people miss in talking about this is that also each of these terms have distinct meanings, right? Like, let's get into it a little bit, right? It's like AKA femme. Femme is something
Mhm.
that is often used in the lesbian community that describes a person who expresses their identity in a more feminine way. But folks like us, right? Folks like you, John, who are not non-binary, with me as a queer person, right? Have also taken on the moniker of being femme,
Yeah.
and finding a lot. To me, I find a lot of like I find a lot of like connection with identity of feminist, being connected to my own
Mhm.
femininity as well too. I'm curious
Mhm.
about how about that for you.
So yeah, and I think I get asked that quite a bit. Like, one, someone would say, "Why did we put that title into the podcast when we were thinking of what this show was going to be called?" Right, and then
Mm,
obviously, right, the offshoot of my book. Why would I put "fem" in the title? And I think that's, I understand. Like, I want folks to be clear. I understand that the lesbian community has taken that term and what it means in that community, but I think for me, I think reclaiming fem, it was something I was called my entire life, was that I
mm,
was feminine, or that, oh, you act, you're fem, or even, on the apps, right? Like I've
mm,
talked about this in different circles. When we were when you go on the apps, you'll often see people say no fem, right? And we know what fem means. And so I think for me to reclaim the FEMME in my identity, I think for me it has a lot to do with this idea of how long I hated it, and how long how much time I spent trying to run away from it. And then once I was able to truly figure out myself and understand why I hated that term, being able to kind of take it back and say, oh, I present as non-binary femme. It's also the same way. Like, I've had friends, and I truly don't love this word, but I understand it, right? I have friends
mm,
who identify as fag, right? And they say, "Oh, I'm a faggot," and you're like, "Whoo, that's rough." But I get it. Like, as much as I don't love that word, and it kind of makes me cringe even just to say it. I think for me, it's like when someone tells me that that's a part of their identity, I often go into this idea of like, oh, I get it. I
mm,
understand what you've been
mhm,
through, and I understand why that word means so much to you, and why you would use that as a part of your identity. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that.
Okay, okay, okay. So, so many things. My mind's sinking here.
It's
So,
okay.
no, I'm just like, okay. So, I'm also curious to like go more into non-binary identity because it also trips people up, right? Like for some, it's
Mhm.
seen as an umbrella term for anyone whose gender doesn't fit in the binary category of male or female. Now, keep this in mind, this often can mean that folks identify as gender fluid, and gender non-conforming, which are
Mhm.
three different things.
So you basically mean that gender is a spectrum. That's
The
what you're saying.
hashtag the more you know, girl.
Right, right, right,
Ain't
right,
that
right.
about a bitch? How, but
Yes.
unfortunately, everybody's gender is a spectrum, and so I also think as well too because being gender fluid means that someone's identity isn't fixed and changes over
Right.
time depending on the situation, right? Like for me, I may wear heels when I feel safe to wear them. I always have my nails done, and I do that right. Like safety is important for me. Like being safe in my community, being safe wherever I go. I definitely always sometimes like if I'm wearing nails, where people like try and tap me for it. But
Mhm.
usually everyone's always like loving it. But I think at that point, people also are like, "Oh, Joe, like you must be non-binary." Like everyone be asking me like, "What are your pronouns? Or do you use they them?" And I'm like, people want me to be well, people want me to be MB so bad, and I like love that for us. And thank you so
I
much.
want I want you to join. I want you to join. I
pushing
really do. I really
pushing
want
the
you to
MB
join
agenda.
the mafia. Yes,
you
come
know,
through the NBC mafia, the
you know,
mafia,
you
or
know,
the
I
NGC
was like, not the
mafia.
NBC I live. You know what though?
Yeah, well,
I will actually
non-binary is
say,
non-conforming. Mhm.
I actually this past um month and I haven't talked about this yet with anybody. I actually have been like I won't say trying on, but considering doing like a he they, because like, I feel connected to, like, being he, him,
Mhm.
but I do think I go beyond. I think, I don't actually know if I would say, like, I feel, like, non-binary. I mean, maybe, like, inherently I
Mhm.
be, but I do sometimes think about, I do sometimes think about being, doing, he, him,
The
they.
NGC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like, I think I mean, first of all, I respond to all pronouns, I really do. I also don't feel like I don't feel for some people, like, gender acknowledgement is, like, life-saving or
Is
life-endangering,
it's a big deal.
right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And then, for me, it isn't. Like, for me, I really I don't feel endangered if someone messes up how they refer to me.
Right.
Because I feel very clear and rooted in myself. I'm not saying that those who it is like life affirming or life ending that they don't feel rooted in themselves. Like
I
it's
hear you.
just that's just that's just not my hill that I want
Mm.
to stand on in some
Okay.
ways. Um, but I really am feeling I'm processing real time. Like this isn't even on show notes, y'all. I'm in real time just for processing. I really am feeling some type of calling to begin using a they, pronoun usage for myself because I think maybe in some cases I am feeling pressured or coerced into doing it. I mean
I think you're at the age, Jordan.
not
No, no, like, I
pressure.
don't wanna
Yeah.
cut you
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
I don't think yeah, I don't wanna cut you off. What I feel though, and it's kind of the same way, like, I'm getting ready to turn 40, and I think the getting ready to turn 40 means a lot of different things for me. I think, you just turned what, you 31?
I'll be girl 30, just 30.
You just okay, the 30.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I
but
don't know why I thought you were 31, but
I live with
30,
this.
yeah, so you just turned 30, and so I think going into your 30s, it is, that's very much where I got very comfortable with the nonconformity of myself, like
Yeah, and I think,
yeah,
I'm
so
at a place where I'm it's not that I don't love being he, him, right? Like, it's not that,
oh, yeah,
I don't love being a boy in my terms of gender,
mhm,
but there are
yeah,
times where I'm I actually am more than this. I actually am
yeah,
more. I am a boy who rocks nails, and, that actually is inherently,
gender
non-binary in
fluid.
some ways, right? Or it
Mhm,
is gender
mhm,
fluid.
mhm,
I am a boy who does experiment in different gendered fashion.
T.
So yeah, so I do. So I
And you do it good, honey. I will say that. My friend dresses house down boots. Like there's some looks that you have that I'm like, "Oh shit, Imma need that." I
Thank
think you
you.
have like it's like a yellowish suit. It's like a mustard colored suit.
Yes,
There was a
ma'am.
look. Ooh, I
Yes,
love that
ma'am. My
suit.
little
Every
two
time you
piece
put
moment.
that shit on, you
Mm,
put the shit on. But
ooh.
what I will say is, so as I'm listening to you, and again, these are not in our notes. This is like a real, diva sister conversation. I think as I'm listening to you, I also hear the other people who kind of struggle with this idea of like being he him. When you ask the question, what's more than he him? I think it's really this conversation of gender truly is a construct, and a lot of that construct is gross and very isolating and
Mm,
very insular. And I think that's the reason why I love this idea of like, so when someone asks me like, how do I identify? When I say my pronouns are they them, it's not because I'm trying to make this stamp of like I need to be different and I need to make sure that I stand out. No, it's a thing of I don't feel like the he him is enough to explain all that I
yeah.
encompass, all that I've been through, all that I fought for. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I hear you saying is
Yes.
that a lot of
Unlimited.
unlimited. Yes, like I hear this conversation around people being trans, non-binary, femme, like these are
Yeah.
all identities that we've had to fight for and we've had to fight to understand in a world that is ultimately trying to get us to just quote unquote only male or female. And it's like, nah, bitch, like I'm more than that.
Mm,
I'm gonna always be more than that because I am more than that. And I think that's what makes this conversation so beautiful is
mm,
that even with these definitions, I think even just this notion of, kind of going back to my point, that is why I say I'm gender expansive, gender fluid, non-binary, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, it's because one, I feel like I've worked hard to build the safety around that, and I've built a safety net of people around me who
mhm.
respect that. I've only had issues with like very few people, and a lot of them are like the older generations that don't understand why someone would want to be gender nonconforming that I've
Mm,
had to like push back on. But for the most part, people they them me all the time. And I love hearing my friends intentionally either one self-correct or two correct other people about my pronouns. My husband does it all the time. And for me that just tells me a lot about this idea of like I've built a network of people around me who are a net, I should say, of people around me who genuinely get me and understand me. But I also think that this conversation of, like I said, being gender expansive and gender fluid is so much bigger than just these definitions. And it really speaks to the idea of like we all have, especially queer people, I think, and I use that as an umbrella term, we've all had to
yeah.
fight to really understand who we are and why our identity means so much to us. And so when people do correct me about their pronouns, I respect it because I get it. Like
Mhm.
it's not
Same,
just
same.
that for me, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I
mhm,
think, like, it's really important. I want to name for anyone who's listening who may be struggling with, like, understanding the expansiveness of gender, right? Like, in this moment, we're talking about, like, to a point where like, you can't deny that's a construct. Like, you can't deny that, like,
mhm,
many cultures, especially indigenous cultures, their view of gender has been very expansive. Their view of fashion with gender has always been very expansive. That construct to gender did not come until, like, particular religions came and, like, colonized parts of the world, and that's when it enforced gender. And it's like, we all know that gender was constructed for us, and that's separate from what our assigned sex is, right?
right.
Our sex being based off of our genitalia. And I hope that people understand that, like, people who want to experiment with gender or shift their gender or feel aligned with a different gender, like isn't it isn't a betrayal to who they are or who they've been. It's an alignment with who they want to be. It's alignment with who we
Right,
want to be.
right. Mhm,
Because, like, at the end of the day, we all want autonomy of ourselves, and we're all fighting for autonomy of ourselves, right? Like,
mhm,
the
mhm.
overall point of being gender nonconforming, is that we get to be autonomous of how we want to show up in the world. And I know
Real.
people want to police that because I think it's more because of that they're scared to envision a world where people can be what they want to be, right? People are scared to envision a world.
Say that.
People are
Say
scared
that.
to envision a world where where we don't adhere to rules or during, like, social
Mhm.
laws, but we all know that, like, law is meant to have order, so it's meant to have
Yeah,
control. And I am all for order in some ways, and in other ways in which I'm like, this actually does not need to be real. Like, order is arbitrary. I do not need to have order in
yeah,
terms of, like, who what my gender is. And then for the folks who are like, okay, well, how about people who are, like, trans and, like, and get sexual reassignment surgery? How amazing it is that we have the technology and ability to shift to, like, change our assigned sex, right? And that's what assigned sex. That means that you were
yeah.
assigned, which means that you had no agency over that. That's your
That and
assigned sex.
that is the
Like,
fucking
that
point
is
of all of this.
so, like,
Go
what a
off.
gift it is to
Yeah.
say, "I'm gonna reassign myself and have someone change that for me." And people who are against that, y'all be eating GMOs. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
And taking
Y'all
GLP-1s and
you
doing all
hear
the other fucking
y'all
shit
hear
that people
doing
do to their
y'all hear
bodies.
y'all hear like, "Well, that's not natural." Susan, please.
It's not
You
natural
are
for you to
you're
get
out
to
here
get
you're out
right.
here
Yeah, yeah.
doing how many rounds of tanning solution? That's not natural, girl, that's artificial sunlight. Look
Nope,
at you.
nope.
Look at you being unnatural, bitch. Like, what the,
Look
like,
at you, like you playing in
girl,
the mud, girl.
okay, I'll
Look
raise in
at
the
you.
sun. I'll raise in the sun, girl,
Hello,
relax. Like, you
hello.
need to calm down. And so, like, I wish
And
go ahead.
I was gonna say to that point, I didn't want to miss this nugget. I also want to name that that's the white supremacy of it all in these conversations. And so, like, if we so right, I came in with a very very kind of tight, small idea of like this is just what it means to be non-binary, gender inclusive, and blah 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 blah. But or gender expansive, et cetera, et cetera. But as you zoom out, you start to understand that as you look at the full picture of what's happening around us right now with the government and the ways the laws are trying to be taken back from trans people and how folks are not allowing people to want to get what they need to make the it is all about control, it is all about power, it's all about this idea of it's not even about, I will say I want how do I say this? I don't want people coming for my neck. Oh, I'm gonna say what I want to say. For me, it's not even about control anymore per se. I think, or about autonomy. I think it has a lot to do about this idea of people not being able to deal with the idea that people have, like you said, the right to do what they want to do with their bodies. It's coming down, it's coming back to this idea of feeling like white men are having a very hard time with understanding the idea that we are so much more than what they say we are. And I think that's why we're seeing some of them react the way that they're reacting, in terms of like, let's take this law, let's do this, let's do, because they're like, oh, these people are out of control. And it's like, no, we've evolved. We're evolving as people, and you can't handle that. Like your brain doesn't. Let me stop because I'm gonna get in
No,
trouble.
we are so much more than our prescriptions, and I mean
Yes,
that in terms of, like, social laws, I mean that in terms of, like, our actual medications, right? Like, we're so much more
yeah,
than what our prescriptions are, and I like, I think it's not that they can't wrap their mind around it, I think it's that they just don't want to because they would
they
prefer
don't.
to have order in a place because they want to feel like they're
In
in charge of
control.
the order.
Mhm,
And like
mhm.
and so they would rather enforce an order of non-autonomy. But you can't control creatures. Like we're meant to be wild and free, like many other animals that we see. Like we yearn for freedom. And
Yeah,
I also want to be clear as well that while gender expansiveness conversations are under the umbrella of queer, right? And queer is just like different or countercultural. I also want I want to be really clear in saying that people who are gender nonconforming does not mean that they are like gay or bi or lesbian,
nope,
right? Like people
nope,
also like I think what's but again people would rather choose semantics because it makes sense to them to rationalize. But like, I just say queer because I want to be expansive, right? Like, I say I'm queer because like maybe one day I will fall in love with a woman. I don't foresee it happening, but like maybe one day I will, right? But
mhm,
I'll never say I'm straight. But like, there are people who are there are men who there are men people who are assigned at birth who feel connected to being a man and are bigender, agender in their presentation but like
yeah,
they still very much love people assigned female at birth or people who identify as
yep,
women. Like, and then again, like what a gift, right? Like what a gift. And I know that like it's something that we talked a lot about on my trip in New Orleans because it was with my work team. Because we're in a place where like, there's so much history of slavery and energy of slavery
mhm,
there, and
mhm,
how like and I mean again like it really is about control because an organized people who aren't controlled are revolutionary, and people are
right,
scared of that revolution. People are scared of change, um, and people will give their life to maintain a world in which people don't get to excel or ascend
mhm,
so that
mhm,
they can feel like the highest ground. But like you can't descend me. You can't descend my people. Like we're
mhm,
sending you're trying so hard, right? You're putting us through a pressure cooker, but that pressure is cracking, bitch, and we are
and it's
ascending
creating
still.
diamonds,
Like we are
creating
ascending
diamonds,
still,
honey.
shining brightly.
Yep,
So, like,
yeah.
pay the business that minds you, bitch, because clearly what you're doing is not working for
It's not
anybody.
giving what it's supposed to
It's not
have
gonna
given, girl.
okay,
Yeah.
and so, like, your experiment has failed, your hypothesis is wrong, baby girl. Okay? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
but
You're
the
failing
hypothesis is
science class,
wrong.
girl. It's
The chemicals you use aren't mixing, they're gonna make a little explosion, and guess what?
yeah.
When that explosion happens, we're gonna come out on top being our
Still
free,
us,
beautiful, amazing selves. So,
still
like
us. And I think that's why all the
and
girls are
that's the
gooped and
tea.
gagged right now. That is the tea, babes. Like that is literally why I think so many people are gooped and gagged. And I
Mhm.
think too, I think a lot of them are mad. And so it's just I'm seeing it move in so many different ways, right? We're seeing it in education, we're seeing it in health, we're seeing it in all these different factions of these white men trying to do their best to try to make sure that people don't understand themselves. But I'm gonna always be this person. I'm gonna say this, and I think that's the crux of this conversation. The bigger part of this conversation is that people will always know themselves better than what
Mhm.
you could ever tell them, and that is the reason why you need to respect what people are telling you about themselves. If a person
Okay.
says, I am a woman, they know they are a woman. The
Mhm.
same way if a person says, I am hungry. You can tell me day in and day out, bitch, you are not hungry, but I will know.
Bitch, I'm
I know
hungry.
my body. I am hungry, bitch. I'm hungry all the time. Shit, I am on medication at this moment that is supposed to not make me as hungry, and I still am hungry. I
Mm,
ate some Cheetos last night before I went to bed because I was hungry. But I say all of that to say, jokes aside, like we got to get away from this place of telling people who they are, and respecting the idea that people
mm,
know themselves well enough to say, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I want you to do to me and my body.
mm,
You don't have that respect, right? Like you don't get to tell people. I think that's what I really want to say. You don't get to tell people who they are. You just
mhm.
don't. And if you can't deal with the fact that there are people out there that know who they are and like who they are or love who they are, i.e. me,
Okay.
eat it. Tough. Tough tits. Sorry about it. There's no other way around it. So I guess what this conversation really boils down to is autonomy. People know themselves, they know their identities, and when people tell you this pride season and onward who they are, respect them. Okay. All right, y'all. With that being
Her.
said, this was the perfect way to end this segment. Let people be who they are, stay open to learning about it. If you want to engage in this conversation, you know our email. Send us an email over, and again, we can break things down. We love listener letters, so we would love to engage people about how they have found themselves or how they're finding themselves. Like you said, Joel, you're going through that process now. I love it. I think this is the perfect time because who knows how much longer we gonna be here, child.
Thank you.
Um, with that being said,
Girl.
we are going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we are going to talk more about what's on our plate. Back in a second.
And we're back, fam. So if you have been a day one listener, you should know how hard we ride for Taco Bell around these parts. But we have not dedicated a segment to this love. And so we thought today, something feels so heavy. Why not take the time in this episode to uplift our love for the Gordita Supreme of fast food?
Amen. 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 I want to note that this is not an ad. Taco Bell did not pay us, but if they want to, they
Please,
can.
please.
We would love for you to sponsor the show. But when you brought this up the other day, we were texting about this, and
Yes,
you
ma'am.
just put yes with big capital letters.
Yes, ma'am.
I said, I appreciate that you're here for it.
Mm.
So I wanted to ask you in our what's on your plate segment, when did your love for Taco Bell begin?
Picture this. There I was, barbecue sauce on my titties. Mild sauce on my titties. No, growing
Mild
up,
sauce on your titties. That's gonna be the name of this
growing
episode. My
yes,
God.
growing up,
Mild
we had
sauce on my
all
titties.
the fast food places nearby, but Taco Bell was the closest place, and I don't know, something about it just felt different. Like it was funky, right? Like 90s Taco Bell was
Mhm.
funky. Colors,
Yeah.
symbols, and that's why I love it, right? Like it's not concerned with the other girls. It has no traffic because it stays in its lane all the time.
See,
Okay?
that is
And they change
that
up their
is
stuff to see what works and what does not. They said we will prototype and see what works and does not, and they won't give up. They will say, "No, you don't like it? Fine, we'll give you something else instead." And they always serve. It's always delicious. They have the most expansive menu because also they can make mostly anything vegetarian friendly. I'm sorry, but can
see.
McDonald's do that? Can Burger King do
No.
that? Can Wendy's do that? Can Arby's do that? I don't think so. Your faves could never. And
Del Taco could.
Del Taco could. Del Taco could. But Del Taco was just not that girl
Mhm.
to me. But
She's not. No,
like,
I mean,
it's
she
just like
gives what she needs
she
to, but
is
not
that
ever.
right? She gives what she needs to, but Taco Bell is like, Taco Bell is the one that's like, I'm a bad bitch on my own. Now I need nobody to
Right,
prove it,
right,
right? They're just fine. Like
right.
who does not want to live Moss? People can call Taco Bell gross. They can call it bad for your stomach. They can even call it fake food, but they can't call it uninclusive or
That
unoriginal.
part. That part. That's real. I vibe with that and I fucks with that so hard. So I'm about to put y'all on some games. So I went to Taco Bell the other day. And me and my partner were trying to figure out what we were going to order. And when we were at the drive through, the man was like, "Oh, you have to go on the app to order that specific thing because certain specials that they have are only for
Yeah,
the app."
yeah.
Like most places now. And that was actually going to be part of my no man Pam, but I decided to
That I
leave it
mean, that part
alone.
does make me a little mad. Like, girl, fuck the app, bitch.
Yeah,
Just give me the
like
thing.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
here,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
here, you have it anyways. Give me the thing.
Yeah. Right. I'm at the fucking drive-through, girl.
I did you a
Gift
service.
me
I
what
came here. Like
I came
when they
here.
ask you
Just
like,
gift
"Oh,
me.
are you picking up an app order?" No, bitch, I want it fresh.
No. I
I can't live Moss if I can't show up.
No, I don't want to I do not want to engage in your app. But the guy was like, "Yo, you can only get that meal on your app." And I was like, "Damn it." So I went inside, and as I was there, the lady pulled me to the side. She said, "Something that they don't tell many people, they have not been advertising, is that they have happy hour every Tuesday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. where a lot of the stuff on their menu drops to be like $1." And I
Yes.
guess they're not promoting it,
I would
but they
love to
are,
see
like,
it.
it's there. So I wanted to make sure that I put our listeners on. But I will say this: I just something about taco. What has won me over is that I have never gotten a stale taco shell from them
Mm.
ever. The hard shell tacos are never stale.
Mhm.
And there's just something about the chemistry of that mystery meat and that sour cream that just does it for me. And I'll say this:
Mm.
like, I do not know what is in that meat, but by
Mystery.
God, I just love the consistency. It's just tasty. It's like the perfect sentiment of sweet, but also a little bit. There's this hint of like num, 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 some salt. And then you get the taste of whatever that oil is that they put in it, and it's never oily. It's
Okay.
just the right amount of
Okay.
oil. It's just Taco Bell is a mood. I think yeah, I just and the other thing I'll say before we get out of here is I love how I think that for me is what gets me with like certain places, like certain like fast food spots. Consistency. Like
Yes.
even like because I'll say this, like we have Farmer Boys over here.
Mm.
One Farmer Boys is not as good as the next Farmer Boys, right? Or
Yes.
same thing. Kind of like a lot of people are like, "Oh, Wingstop is great." No, not all Wingstops are made equally.
Correct. Correct.
There's one Wingstop on the other side of town that is way saltier than the Wingstop that's
You
behind
go
where I
Wingstop on
currently live.
Crenshaw. You don't do Wingstop on 34th. That's just
Right, like
the rules of the
yeah,
game.
like it doesn't work. Like that's why it's the same thing. Like I get a lot of crap for people saying like ill because I love KFC. I like KFC because it's consistent. I usually know that my chicken is always gonna taste the same.
Mm.
Taco Bell, McDonald's, all of those places for me is why I like it. It's like I know every time I go to Taco Bell and I get a fillet of fish, it is going to taste exactly the same. And I know again, y'all can cancel me for like a McDonald's. I'm sorry, y'all. But with all that to be said, I'm just really big on consistency. And I think that's what I love about Taco Bell is that for the last 39 years of my life, they have been consistent. So I just want to ask you before we jet, I would love to know what your favorite combo meal order is. What is it that just makes like could make your day? Like even right now, I'm sitting in and I'm going, I have a
Mm.
half a burrito up there I could eat for lunch,
Mm.
or I could just go to the Taco Bell that's around the corner. But I know for me, my favorite one, and I hope I have the number right. But I have my favorite. I'm not going to even say the number because I don't want to be wrong. But my favorite is I always get the three Doritos Locos taco
Mhm,
combo
mhm, mhm.
because supreme. We got to make it supreme.
Period. Period. Yep.
Gotta have the little cuts of tomato. I need the lettuce. I need that cheese, and I definitely need the sour cream. It's got to be supreme. And then I get 18 more of those tacos. And then sometimes I will get a crunch wrap added on and a 5 layer burrito that I can eat later. That is that is my order. I say I don't want no steak or no chicken. Don't put none of that in my shit. I want all of the mystery meat. All of it is mystery meat. I want all of it straight up mystery meat. What's your order?
Okay. So bean burrito is one. Like I can never go and not have a bean burrito. I don't know what there is in their beans. but I could literally eat
Their
gallons
beans are
of that
good.
shit. I can eat gallons. That shit
Yeah,
is
their
just so
beans are
with,
good.
with the little sauce they use and the onions. Ooh, girl, I love me a bean
Mm,
burrito. Um,
yeah.
I always get. I usually I'll oscillate between certain things. I fucks heavy with the grilled cheese burrito. That shit's just delicious. With the cheese on all crispy on top of the burrito. Ooh, girl.
Oh, I
Um,
didn't know that that was a thing.
I
Okay.
often will get me. I'll get me a box. I'll give me one of the little box meals.
The box is
I
boxy, yes.
love I will always get the beefy 5-layer burrito, but I sub the beef for more beans. So you get the nacho cheese, the beans, the
Oh,
sour cream, a little
to
rice
see.
with it. It's so good. Or I'll sub for potatoes. And I love me a
Mhm.
soft taco. Potato soft taco. Girl, my
Yeah,
shit. But I could literally live off the bean burritos. That shit is just good every single time.
their
Or
beans are good.
the cheese quesadilla. I don't know whatever sauce that they use in that little spicy sauce in that quesadilla.
I'm sure it's that
Ooh,
mild sauce that they give us in the packet. I tell you right now,
baby, no,
the
it's
one
the
thing that I also
queso,
like
no
about
queso.
Taco Bell,
Ooh,
there's 5 ingredients at Taco Bell, and they remix the hell out of those 5
they do
ingredients, and they
remix.
work. They work. They just work. Top, bottom, left, right. It is always on point. I was gonna ask though, have you tried the nuggets?
No comment. This is my point where they experiment and some things are a hit and some things are not, but I will love them regardless. I think they were
It's not
not
for me, babes.
not for me,
It's not
guys.
for
They were
me,
not
babes.
they were not the worst nuggets I've
Yeah,
had in my life. Um,
yeah.
I don't think that nuggets possibly are their strong suit. When they had the chicken fries, that was delicious. I love the chicken fries.
Yeah.
Um,
Jonathan
the
likes his chicken
nacho
fries
fries,
too.
right? Um, but yeah, I like. Did we get the 10 piece? We did. Were we like, we'll get this again? No, but
No.
I loved the vision, and I loved the attempt. They said we'll give it a shot.
I so because you know I have ADHD brain. I and my thoughts are always so vivid. I could literally see you going back to the Taco Bell with the box and pushing it back to the person who gave it to you, being like, "This isn't for
Hi,
me."
I
I
had one nugget. Could you just take the rest back, please?
Yes,
Thank you.
and I
No
just
refund.
okay.
Just toss
Before we leave, I just want to say, and also same thing, Mountain Dew. If you
them.
want to sponsor us, you I will forever. The so the other day, so when I was at Taco Bell, my husband would have a fit if he knew this. So y'all all know that I have diabetes, and I've been really taking my sugar seriously. And I've been doing anything and everything that I can to kind of like duck and dodge all of like regular sugar or anything that's not good for me. And so when I was there, the lady gave because she actually said, "What do you want to drink?" And I said, "Oh, of course, Diet Baja Blast." When I got in the car, I was so excited because it wasn't diet. It was the regular Baja Blast. And I was like, oh my God, he came through in the time of need. Baja Blast with a Doritos Loco.
Stop. He said, "Won't he do it?
My God.
Won't he do
Ooh.
it?"
Oh, won't he do it? Won't he
Okay,
will? Won't he
okay,
will? And so I
okay,
sipped
fam.
my happy ass all the way back home. I was so happy. My
Okay,
God, won't
y'all.
he
Now
do
that we have made everyone hungry and gave y'all the sugars, including ourselves, we're gonna
Oh.
take a quick break and come back with y'all's favorite segment. Yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, Pam, in just a bit.
All right, y'all. We are back with y'all's favorite segment, Yes Ma'am and No Ma'am Pam. This week mine are very I would say they're light. They're simple. So my first Yes Ma'am, I just wanted to big ups and shout out anybody who's black with cats or black people who understand my love for cats. I will say this. I grew up in a non-animal home. My mom was very big on like I could barely feed y'all asses. Why do I need a pet? That was very much my mom's like
Mm,
mentality when I asked her as a kid if we could have an animal. And so now being an adult who a whole ass adult who has a cat who runs their home, I often will bring it up how much I love having Lily in our home and the fun as much as she hates us, the fun that she brings to our home. It's just fun to sometimes play with her and see her, just being herself, just being her little self. And I did not understand that until I got a cat of
mm,
how darling they are and how sweet they are, how beautiful how calming their purrs can be, especially
yeah.
when she lays on purrs. It is one of the most beautiful feelings. She recently just did something that made my heart melt. So I have a blanket that I sit with on my couch, and I usually will put it on at night because my husband likes to keep our house a icebox. And she normally will crawl on the blanket. She'll just crawl to like my stomach or in between my legs and like make herself a little fort so that way, I can't really touch her. But the other night, she like crawled up the blanket and she like laid her head on my shoulder. And she has never done that. And it literally was like, oh my God, this is the most sweetest thing that she has
Mm,
ever. So I'm just obsessed with kitties. I love cats. I
so
love my
sweet.
baby. I love your babies.
Me
Yeah,
too.
I know. Yeah, I just love black people with cats. So
Yes.
black people with cats. The next part, no man Pam. So many of you know, we are coming back. We've caught up. So by the time you hear this, you will know that it's been about a week after my trip. Me and my partner went on the Norwegian cruise line. It was a beautiful time. If you want more knowledge about my trip, you can see my pictures. I've left a really long kind of post on Instagram because I genuinely thought I'd never be able to take that cruise or afford to take that cruise. And so it was just a big deal. But I will say this, one of the parts of taking that cruise was to stay where we stayed. Many of you know I stayed in the Haven. You have to buy the drink package. It's one of the things that they require you to do. Like, there's no way to really opt out of it. You kind of have to pay for it. And so me and my husband, we paid for it. I paid for it just in general of like, I know we have to, so I don't get away from it. And so when I got on the boat and they started kind of taking drinks around, there became this game of people being like, "Oh, are you going to order a drink?" And I was like, "No, can I just get like a spritzer with water, or can I get something with a lemon, or can I get some water, or can I get a diet, a Coke Zero
Mm.
because I don't do Diet Coke." And there was this moment where I like almost like had to catch myself with a bartender because I was at the bar with my friend and also with my partner, and the bartender, I think he was trying to be cheeky and cute, but he was like,
Mm.
"Oh, come on, man, why you're on a cruise, let yourself go, get something to drink." And I'm literally looking at him like, "Nigga, I told you I don't drink, like, or I don't like to drink. It's not even that I don't drink. I just don't really like the taste of alcohol. I think it's gross." And I was just so upset because I'm like, if someone tells you that they don't drink or they don't like the taste of alcohol, why are you asking them more than once? So that is my no man Pam. Like, people who
Yeah.
make a big stink about why folks don't engage in drugs and alcohol, mind your fucking business. You don't know what people have gone through to get to this place of like, I don't drink alcohol. I just don't like the taste of it. That should be the end of the conversation. Like, I don't need you harping on, or I don't need you asking me more questions about why I don't drink or why I don't like to drink. Please stop. Like, just when someone says I don't like something or I'm not interested in something, don't pressure them. Like, it doesn't need to be a fucking conversation. Let it be. That's all I have to say.
Period. Period. Yeah,
Mhm.
fuck them.
Just it.
Whew, okay. My yes ma'am. So my yes ma'am is to this organization called Studio B in New
Hey.
Orleans. They began as a artist response to the lack of support from Hurricane Katrina. And the horrible response to like from FEMA and from governments about Hurricane Katrina and the impact it had on folks there. Black led, black centered creative studio. They took housing projects that were abandoned and like made them gorgeous art pieces. They were then shut
Love
down
it.
and demolished. They then got a warehouse space in, I want to say, Bywater area of New Orleans, with just like gorgeous and incredible like giant murals. It's like 60, 70,000 square feet of murals. Amazing
Mm,
installation art, just so fucking dope. Like so fucking dope. It was incredible. If y'all have a chance to check them out, it's so amazing. So much great black art, beautiful art. If you go when it's hot, bring a fan. It's hot in there. But it really was fantastic and amazing. I definitely can't wait to go back and talk more about Studio B. Was just so cool. I love black art. I love being black, and this made me just feel so
mm,
proud of it. And it was just, yeah, it was amazing. My no man Pam is just DoorDash drivers who are getting brazen these days. So let me preface, I know people are gonna be like, "You a classless bitch," and I can work with that, y'all. We on the final day of our work thing, we had done a DoorDash order for a place that was like 3 4 blocks away because like we're not gonna walk like we're in this
Right,
giant
right,
meeting. I messed up on tip. I definitely meant to give. I meant to give a certain amount. I ended up pressing $4 by accident. Like $4. Like I like it was an accident. I was gonna tip more because now on DoorDash you can tip more afterwards. The person delivers the food and they message me and they're like, "Wow, $4 for $4 for a $200 order, amazing." Now listen, baby girl, you didn't make the food. You did not.
well,
You drove 3 blocks. You gave me 2 bags that were not heavy. Like you did not come inside the hotel. You literally, I met you outside and and took it from your car. Like you did not do much. Like don't base it off the order, girl, because the order means nothing. Truth, like lovingly, the order means nothing
right,
because like you aren't making the food. I would tip the people who made the food. This one,
right.
I meant to give them one in the first place, like, and I added to it. I was like, hey, my bad. Like I actually give you a tip back. So I was gonna give you a bigger tip, and I'm going to anyways. But I'm sorry you hate me, and like thanks for popping off. And they're like, I don't hate you. I love giving that setting service. I was like, girl, I'm sorry that you feel undervalued, and like I'm sorry that I contribute to that. I really am. And also, let's relax, baby. If you was out here slinging the food yourself, different story. But like you literally, you got in your car, put it, took it 3 blocks away, which was a huge service for us because we weren't gonna walk and get it ourselves. But like and like it was just like the statement, the message, the emoji with the hand and palm emoji. I was like, girl, don't try me, bitch. And I'm so sorry, but
Don't try me,
like don't
bitch.
expect 20% tip for I mean that you didn't make to like deliver it to me. Like I like again. I tipped more, and I did, and I'm like tipping quite a bit more. I just was like if I'm delivering food, I'm honestly not gonna expect a huge tip, especially because like I'm not the one who made the food. I'm sure someone's gonna be like, "Wow, Joe, man, that's classes of you," and like blah blah blah. And like I hear y'all, like I hear y'all really do. I'm happy to engage in dialogue about it. I was sitting on principle and saying, like, I don't think I should have given a huge tip for like, and also again, if it was like 8 bags, it was 2 bags that was not heavy. Like it was only expensive because the restaurant was expensive, but not because it was not because we got hella food. It was only we got like 8 plates of like salad. That shit was not that
Mhm.
was not heavy, girl. I was like, because I came down like, oh, thinking it's gonna be like a whole box, 2 bags, two. When I say 2 bags, I mean like two like grocery bags. That's it, girl. That's not that much. Calm down. So, anyways, I'll just say, y'all getting brazen as hell. Don't try me. Try Jesus.
Yeah, I think this is we're in a time where everyone is like, pay people what they're worth and pay people, and yeah, they're doing you a service and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yes, I get all of that, but I also think there is also, like with everything, there's two sides, right? There's the side of me that says yes, pay people a good tip, pay them well. I always try to give people 20% when I can. There are just times where some people just don't give me the 20% that they're wanting.
If I tip 20% wherever I go when I go to a restaurant, but at least 20%, because they make the food.
Right.
My guy, you just dropped it. Like not you just,
You
but like
dropped it
you did
off. Yeah,
not
I
make the food. Like you did not make the food, and
you're not wrong.
lovingly talk to DoorDash. They should be paying
Mhm.
you. They
And
should
that's
pay
the
you
gag.
more.
That's the
Like
thing. You
don't
people
make
Yep.
the
Yep.
countless issue about me. They
Yeah,
need to
it's
pay you. And then let's just be clear. I voted for them. I voted for them to do so. Some of y'all voted no. That's all. That
that yeah.
I have
You need to
questions.
take it up with the people who voted no.
Ooh,
No, you're not.
okay.
Everything you are
Ooh.
saying, I'm not pushing back on. What I'm saying is I think that we often say, and I saw a TikTok about that. Funny enough, right before I got on, they were talking about in this TikTok about this frustration that they had with, the whole system of tipping and all of this, because if you go to other countries, they make enough, like there's no such thing as tipping, because
Mm,
they actually make enough money from what they're doing to not need a
mm-hmm.
tip. And I think that's the game, or that's the thing we really need to be talking about here, is like we spend so much time talking about the person who's buying the product, but we're not talking about the companies who make the product, and what they're doing to oversell it, and to underpay us, right,
Mm-hmm.
in the process. So yes, I would say she should really, or she, they, he, whoever, them. person, however you want to name them, they should be going after DoorDash and not Jordan. So I'm here for it. Same thing with Uber. Sometimes, my Uber, sometimes with Uber drivers, sometimes, like for instance, if I get a black woman and she's really cool, I'm gonna give her more than that 25% that they offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you pick me up and all you do, like I had one driver, he picked me up and literally was like, "Hi," and didn't help me get my bags in the car, didn't say anything to me, didn't ask me how my day was, didn't ask me, if I needed a decent temperature in the car. It was just very much, he picked me up from the airport, dropped me off, and was like, "Have a nice day." I was like, "All right, well, looks like
Mm,
you're getting the bottom line of the tip because all you did was drive me. You didn't give me an experience, honey. If she would,
mm.
yes, give me a
Oh, man.
performance. Give me something, honey, right? Because even on the mic, right? Y'all wouldn't listen to this if we weren't entertaining. If we just came, "Hey, everybody, welcome to Black Fat Femme. Hope you all have a wonderful time listening.
Why are we on the?
We're
Yeah,
here to talk about." Well, you wouldn't want to listen to that.
yeah.
So, right, pay us what we owe. We're here for performance. Give us something.
Give it.
Give us
Give it
something.
something.
Yes, give me something. Okay, anyway, with that being said, before we get canceled, please send your thoughts, feedback, and emails at if we haven't already been canceled, because I already know people like, "I don't listen anymore because y'all are elitist." Well. But all that to be said, please send us your thoughts, feedback, and emails to blackfatfempod@gmail.com. You can also send your thoughts via social media by interacting with our post on Instagram and Twitter by using the handle at blackfatfempod. Queen Joho, where can the dolls find you?
Of course, loves. You can find me as you do every day and every week at Joho Daniels across all socials. My website,
Amen.
JordanDaniels.com. If not, there you can find me finding Michelle Williams belting out "If You Want Perfection" as I see Death
Shauna,
as I watch Death
yes.
Becomes Her, because I'm so thrilled to see my queen and Queen Megan Hilty in
Oh, are
that
you
show
going
this week.
tonight?
Not tonight, but I will go this week some way, somehow. Don't you
Oh,
worry
you're
about it,
gonna
girl.
love it. We
I'm
need to
so
talk about it
thrilled.
when you see it.
I
We
got
can
you,
talk
girl.
about it on the mic because I saw it
Yes.
last time I was there too.
Yes.
Yes, it's so good. Actually, I wish I could go back and see it again because I really, really, really enjoyed it. It was really good. So you're gonna have a ball. All right. As for me, when I'm not at Taco Bell, because that's actually what I think I'm going to have for lunch. I think I'm gonna get me some Taco Bell. You will find me at www.drjohnpaul.com, where I will be asking you or begging you to keep buying my book. Other than that, shout out to everyone who has tapped me and sent me pictures and has told me that they've gotten their copy, whether it be signed or not. I truly do appreciate how y'all continue to keep rocking for my book. Also, wait, this comes out on Tuesday. I am in Chicago on Wednesday. Okay, big ask, big ask, big ask. If you have not purchased a ticket yet for my book event in Chicago, please do. There is a likely chance. I'm hoping that we're at a place now where it'll go, but there may be a chance that I may really need y'all's help. So please, I know I probably should have did this last episode, but if you're in Chicago and you are a listener and you have the means, please, I think the tickets are only like $15. If you don't, I'll say this: if you really want to come to the Chicago event and you can't afford a ticket, you really want to be there, hit me. I will work to make sure that you get there and that you don't have anything to worry about. But other than that, please catch me there. All that to be said, we want to thank our producer, Bay Wang, for handling the logistics and everyone over at iHeart who continues to keep our show up and running. As you all may have heard or may not know, we have been renewed for another year. So you will get another year of Black Fat Femme, honey. We're here. We're queer. I can't drink beer because obviously diabetes. But with that being said, you can give me a Doritos Local Taco,
Period.
or you could. What's the? Is it a gordita that they put outside with the beans and the cheese, and then they put
Yes.
the taco in the
Yes.
middle, and then
A
they put
good girl.
mm, my God. Yes, you can get me one of those. I don't know what it's called, but you can get me one of those. With that being said, also, Chris Rogers, we want to thank you for being the wonderful editor that you are. Without him, there would be no show or visuals. I'm still, I feel like we're never going to see anything outside of the tours for Renaissance or Cowboy Carter or whatever this third act is going to be. And I've just kind of
I think we
accepted that
will
we're.
after Act 3. I think after Act 3 is when we'll see something.
You think so?
I do. I think it'll be a while, but I think we'll get something after Act 3.
I don't know. I'd be trying not to let that ruin my day, but I'd be thinking about that every time.
I feel you.
Some days I'll be having a really good day, and then I'll think Beyonce ain't put no visuals out for those goddamn albums, and it just kind of makes me upset. But anyway, all that to be said, this has been another show. Stay black, fat, femme, and fabulous, and remember what, Joho?
Drink some water and check your sugars. That's why you're thirsty. You may have the sugars like John, but if you
Yeah,
don't,
yeah,
then
yeah.
make sure you have some good water, girl.
Yes, yes. We really should get into that too. All the different types of waters and why they're not made equally. I'm looking at you, Dasani. Anyway, all that to be said, have a great time. I love us for real.
Bye.
Bye.